Hey there, Red Moon listener. This is just a tiny announcement to keep you posted on what we're currently up to. After no less than 17 recorded play sessions, we have now finished the Black Madonna. The series should end up with 34 episodes in total, meaning that the episode you're about to listen to is just a bit past the halfway point in the story. We have also recorded a slightly emotional post-mortem of the campaign, reminiscing about what happened and talking about how we felt playing through it. All of this is available in raw form on Patreon right now, and we would be very happy to see you join our little community there. We would like to once again thank our current patrons for helping keep the lights on and the show going. So, what's next? Today, we would like to announce our next campaign that will begin right after the Black Madonna concludes. Are you ready? We will be playing The Curse of Strahd for the 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons, with Greg, who plays Carver on this show, as our Dungeon Master. It's a dark adventure set in the world of Ravenloft, and very different from the D&D stories you may be used to from other podcasts. You will perhaps also be happy to hear that we are keeping our strict narrative focus, moody atmosphere, and complex characters. Of course, it's just not Red Moon role-playing without that. On our Patreon, you can in fact already find our first roleplay session from The Curse of Strahd, as well as 7 episodes of our Q&A show, Ask for the Moon. The 8th, which I'm currently editing, will be released in just a few days. So, what about KULT? What about KULT? Is this it? No, it's not. There will be more. Head over to Patreon to read the full announcement of what is next. We can't wait and hope you will be as excited as we are. And with all that said, enjoy episode 20 of Red Moon Roleplaying.
It worked. My plan actually worked. Entering the dream, we found them and we got something at last. A clue. Kolenko's palace. I don't know what it means, but I feel it's something important. Good. I feel so much more confident in the dream. Assertive, powerful. It's getting easier to wish things into being and then they happen. Although he still doesn't get it. Why is he struggling? Am I just better now at understanding what is real and what isn't? Or am I special? I should not judge him too harshly. I feel this sort of control can be fleeting, much like how in one dream you're awake and the next merely a puppet. I will not be a puppet here, though, and I will not play games with dream things. We will progress. I will make it happen. I can't do such things in the waking world. But the difference seems less and less. This is Red Moon Roleplaying.
There are no stars in the sky, only swirling snow. And there's a black moon that hangs over the horizon.
I feel at the sudden change of environment, and most importantly, the temperature, the cold. I wonder, is this a moment where my repressed memories might resurface, as I immediately start for a moment thinking of my older nightmares of the cold.
They are so eerily similar to what you have seen. It's as if you are inside one of your flashbacks. Nothing is triggered, though, because you are already living it.
If anything, that makes me feel even worse. I kind of walk over to Bjorn very quickly. I'm trying my best to ignore. I don't want to look around. I don't want to see what the city looks like, or the cold. I've never wanted to see it. There's especially... It's almost a moment of paranoia, But do I notice any reflective surfaces anywhere?
Nothing. You see where you are. There is heavy footsteps that you can hear coming from beyond gates that are outside the station's waiting room. You're now standing close to the tracks. The waiting room is ahead of you, and you hear steps coming from the other side. You see humanoid shapes that march by the stairs leading out to the streets. It looks like soldiers, like the ones you saw in the camp. There's at least 3 of them. You also can see that the waiting room is filled with something that's been stacked. Bodies, perhaps.
As Carver comes over to me, I take his hand and I say, let's stay low this time. Let's try to get past. Let's try to not draw attention. Alright?
I nod. I've lost my confidence now. I don't know if you will notice, but I feel it perhaps looks this time I'm more taken up by the dream myself now. I just nod. Yes, let's just stay low. Stay up for the cold.
I have a feeling still sort of tingling from the other part of the dream, the feeling of the liberation of the children, the hope that they had, the hope that came from Piotr, and I want to hold on to it. I want to hold on to being a child. I want to hold on to that hope and the innocence, sort of. So as I hold Carver by the hand, I move up to the doors of the waiting room and I try to peek in.
You peek into the waiting room. It's filled with frozen corpses stacked along the inner walls. All the bodies are emaciated. They stare at you with dead, hollow eyes, but they're somehow alive. There are dozens of turnstiles here which lead directly out to the streets, and then there is a side door.
I'm not looking. If anything, I've closed my eyes, and I just start muttering. No, we don't need to be here. This has nothing to do with this. We're never here, Bill. We were never here. We were never here, so it doesn't matter. Alright? It doesn't matter because we were never here, yes?
Shush, Carver, shush. And I try to not draw attention. Are these soldiers moving around here as well?
The soldiers are moving on the street, through the main exit, the ones with the turnstiles. There's 3 of them. You see their desiccated skulls and the faces. They are just like the guards in the camp.
I try to stay away from them. I don't want to get too close.
And you see the door, the side door that's here. Might take you on a little bit of a detour to exit the station, but perhaps that's a way to avoid these guards. The training kicks in.
I try to time it so that we sneak by the doors when no one's looking in, to move over to the side door. Is there something to... No, I try to open that one as well, very carefully, and see what's outside.
Yeah, I want you to roll and act under pressure to be able to do this and get past the guards.
16.
Carver, what do you do?
I'm trying to hold onto his hand as I do this.
As he holds onto my hand, I'm try and think of what I normally do when I have these nightmares. They're so faint, or they don't last very long. I'll try and observe the situation and see if I can work out something.
All right.
That's allowed. $20. So, 2 questions.
What would you like to know?
As I'm not really thinking too logically, I'll go for the more metaphysical questions here. So the first thing is, as I focus, now I'm trying to actually focus on the situation. What is it that seems strange about this? Because I know my mind is telling me that we didn't come here. This isn't the camp. This has nothing to do with the memories. This is something with me. At least I think it is. And what's going on here? What seems strange? And what's being hidden from me? So let's combine those two. Like, I'm just trying to work out, like, actually looking around, observing. What could even be happening here?
You think about everything that you have found out, and you think about the journey that was described, that the children had taken, that they had been at the camp, then they had been at the Kirov clinic, but before the camp, they had been somewhere. Is this where they had been? Is it Leningrad? Was that where they were? Is that where Kalenko's palace is? Is that why you're here? And why do you see those flashbacks in that case? How is that even possible? But you feel definitely drawn here, not by your will, but by the will of the children. They are the ones who brought you here. Björn, you have made your way out of the train station, past the guards. You are safe from them now. A street sign says that this is Vostania Square. There's 2 wide avenues and several smaller streets that begin from the open place outside of the station. It's dark. The houses are dark and impossibly tall. The street lights are all broken. You can feel the ground heave as a distant explosion illuminates the frigid darkness. And you see Leningrad stretching out before you, a vast city of crumbling ruins which spreads out as far as you can see. Here and there a tower or taller building stands over the bombed and scorched landscape. There's no single point of light in the whole city. Everything is just quiet. Only the howling wind can be heard. It's so cold and so dark.
I speak up and I remark to Bjorn, I think the children wanted us to come here. I think maybe they came from here. Maybe before the camp. Maybe Kalenko's palace is somewhere here. Maybe this is where it began. Bjorn, maybe that's why they want us here, because this is where it began.
I've been to Leningrad before. Have I been, do I recognize it as it were, or is it too different?
No, it is very similar. The avenue of the 25th of October, the main street, lies ahead of you. You are somehow drawn forward, as if what you're seeking is beyond there, further into the city. The doll whispers to you in a language you cannot understand, but it tells you that that is where it wants to go.
I look at Carver. Leningrad. It's the city of palaces. And I start moving up the street.
You move up along the avenue of the 25th of October. The street sign says just that, Oktyabria. A narrow road leads you through the snow off of the broad avenue. And near the far end of this avenue, you see a huge dome crowned by a spire, silhouetted against the dark sky. There appears to be large birds or bats that swirl around it. The building facades closest to the street are relatively intact, but beyond these buildings, the city is nothing but snow-swept ruins for as far as the eye can see. Everywhere you walk, emaciated corpses lie in doorways and are stacked against walls. Sometimes veiled in white sheets, sometimes just lying there, frozen to death, naked.
Suppose at this point, as we seem to be living the flashback, as you said, I can't help but think of all the flashbacks I've ever had. Is there anything I remember the cold, I remember being in buildings, I remember being a child, but now I'm here walking around. Is there anything I remember, like a landmark, or something that maybe helps guide us further? As I'm starting to think now that we're supposed to be here, or they want us here, so maybe there's a reason anything like that at all, am I recalling?
There's a bridge. There's a bridge. A bridge that must be crossed. You know that. Everything else is just like in the flashbacks, even the droning artillery. The feeling of hunger is also here. It's so strange.
I just quietly say to Bjorn, without little explanation, "I remember a bridge. There's always a bridge. Sometimes. Do you... Bridge? Bjorn? Is there a bridge nearby?"
There are many bridges and canals. I think if we follow up this street, we'll come to the first one.
We need to go to the bridge.
You're sort of walking through the streets of Leningrad, drawn almost, pulled by the doll, and you see before you the Fontanka River. The river's waters are moving despite the bitter cold. There's a cloud of mist that rises from its dark currents. A wide bridge crosses the channel, most of it blocked off with barbed wire and concrete slabs. A small opening in the bridge's middle section remains. 4 soldiers are standing sentry here, armed with submachine guns. There's a group of people that are searching in the snow close to the bridge. They are humans who are as gaunt as skeletons. Just a thin layer of skin covers them. Their skulls are deformed with the back of the head drawn out and coarse protruding jaws like that of predators.
I see the soldiers and I start to try to work it out in my mind here. Is there any way we could sneak by, you think?
Carver, you can observe the situation to analyze and try to find an answer.
Yes, I mean, I'm starting to whimper a little. Unlike before, I'm very much in my child form now. And I only got a 7. So yeah, what is the best way through this? We'll have time to think about.
Yes. Crossing the river, if you move a little bit further down to avoid this bridge, there are no boats or anything tied up here, but you can make one.
I can make one. I say that to myself aloud because perhaps I've been giving into the dream more here than I realised before, and I sort of say, wait, can't I make one? Can I do that, Bjorn?
A boat? I look down into the currents below. How does it look? Is it still enough?
It should be. You wouldn't want to swim in it, but a boat should be fine.
Yeah, we could do that.
I just sort of focus really hard again. I find it harder now, especially in my little child hand sort of reaching out. But yes, no, you can affect the dream, can't you? Let's just think. 14. Was there anything floating in the water, or any like little objects near the water, like stones or old...
Yes, there is. There's plenty of stones, there's broken boxes, there's all kinds of things that could become something else.
Yes, I focused on one of the bits of rubble, and I just form a little, tiny little rowboat, which I then try and make permanent as well. My 2 choices. I imagine that the boat, even though it works like a boat, will probably, texture-wise, look like the rock or the rubble I used to create it.
Yes, you make it look like that. It has that texture. It could probably look any way you would want it to look. You have a boat now.
And I kind of mutter very quickly, we should go quickly. We should go now.
Even before you start talking, I'm starting to make my way into it. Try to push off to start making our way over.
You start to row. The current is not that strong. It would have been impossible for you to swim across as children, but with this boat, you are making your way across. But you are not completely silent, and you are not completely invisible. The beings, the ones who were searching in the snow, one of them looks out towards the river, and it makes this indescribable sound, almost like some kind of an animal, towards the others who were searching, and they start running. They start running towards the water, and they get in and start swimming after you. They're quite far away, but they will catch up if you don't get away quickly.
I try my best to assist Bjorn in rowing quickly. I sort of muffle a little squeak of just like, Bjorn, we need to row quicker.
Shut up. Just row.
Yes, and you can roll and act under pressure.
Shall we both do that, or?
Only one is enough.
Can I roll to assist him?
You can do that, certainly.
So I got 13, which gives him a +1.
I rolled 8, so that's 9.
You row as quickly as you can, but you are still children. And it doesn't go so quickly, and they've almost caught up with you as you get ashore on the other side. They are right after you. What do you do?
What can I do?
You can run, you must run.
Yeah, I want to run away from them. Just try to get away as soon as find a place somewhere to hide from.
You're running in panic through the streets of Leningrad, chased by these horrible beings, bodies lying all around you, the icy cold. Yet another bridge is ahead of you. You see guards there as well, and you start running. You rush in, and you get into an alley where there's houses that stretch on both sides, blocking the sky into little more than a centimeter wide strip. You hear movement somewhere behind you, but it sort of loses speed, as if they have lost track of you.
Is there some door open or anything that we could just hide in, or something that we could get into?
There's a narrow path that's been stamped into the snow. The darkness is oppressive here, but down this alley, Carver, down this alley, the Madonna is waiting for you in the church. You just know this, and you have never been more sure of anything in your life. Down the alley. The church is down the alley.
But wait, how does that make me feel? I want to... I feel terrified at this knowledge.
You feel terror, but there is something else as well, a warmth. Regardless, it is the only way forward. They are behind you, and this alley will not let you go anywhere else.
We need to go to the church, Bjorn. We need to find the Madonna.
I was looking around as much as I can to find somewhere to hide, but I can't find it, so I'm going to try to stick to the shadows and move along the side of the wall towards the church.
And you move ahead. The steps behind you from the creatures dies away, and the alley opens to an open space dominated by a small church's facade. The church gates hang half open, and there's light in there. The first light you have seen in the city. It's a Russian Orthodox church. It's right ahead of you. What do?
I look around on the street.
You are seemingly alone here by this church.
I just run to the church.
I move a bit more cautiously behind him.
And Carver, then you reach the doors first. You come in, and yes, you see it is large enough for maybe 50 people. There's some benches that are placed far back against the doors. Double rows of columns covered with images of saints support the domed ceiling. A wall covered with faded paintings of saints divides the room, illuminated by hundreds of thin wax candles. Many more burn throughout the entire church. It's close to 0 degrees in here. There's someone up ahead. An old man sitting hunched over a table.
I look around and feel I'd recognize all the imagery. The saints. Of course, I've read the Bible and various transcripts of it multiple times. It's my job. Does that make me feel a bit better?
Yes, you feel much better in here. if nothing else for the fact that there's light in here, and it's a little bit less cold here too. The old man, he's wearing a black robe. He's seemingly carving wood. There's an incomplete icon painting on an easel in front of him.
In that case, I shall sort of clear my throat.
You do, and he looks towards you. He looks towards Björn holding the doll. The first thing he does.
I take a step back and clutch the doll in my hand because of what just happened before.
I've made that. They always come back, he says in Russian and smiles.
You made this? You made this? And I hold it up.
Yes, and you see around him there are a number of other dolls just like it. I made all of these.
What do they mean?
You will find out. Keep it safe. As he says that, you see the icon that he is carving. It is of a black Madonna. A black Madonna is the Virgin Mary and baby Jesus, but with dark skin. There's something unpleasantly familiar about it. Björn, when you look closer, you realize that the Madonna's face is eerily similar to Carver's.
I move up towards it, strangely lured by it.
I do not move slowly towards it. I move quickly towards it. I am fixated on this for now. I go up almost to him himself, and I just point at it and go, What's that?
He nods meaningfully to you. Familiar, isn't it? But it isn't finished yet. When it is completed, I will come and find you in the cathedral. Go now, save the children.
What?
He resumes his carving.
Wait, I don't understand why.
Björn, the doll really wants to go. You feel it drawing you out of the church. Time is of the essence now because it's getting closer and closer. Soon it will be too late.
Carver, we have to go. We have to go now. Come on. And I start moving. Carver, come.
Wait, can I now have read the person as of the call?
Yeah, you can do a read a person. Sure.
Okay. I'm letting him take me away, but I'm just sort of slowly, because I don't want to go at all. 8, yeah. So you accidentally reveal your own intentions to the person you're trying to read. Tell the GM player what these intentions are, then you'll make a hard or soft move. Okay. So I guess my intentions were I really want to know what on earth he's talking about. I need to know why I think this thing is familiar to me. Why does it look like me? Why did I know what it was before I came in? Why? And all that comes across in, my wait.
And he speaks to you. You will know. Especially you. You will know. And he goes back to his work. And as he says that, Björn pulls you out of the church, leading you forward.
We have to go save the children.
Hell with the children. Whatever, fine. I just sort of I'm upset. I let him lead me on.
Can't you hear it?
Hear what?
The doll. We have to save the children. Come on.
Again, I just let him lead me on.
Beyond the church, a small bridge leads over yet another churning channel of open water. On the other side, the ruined houses form a winding labyrinth of small alleys and sky-high brick walls. The alleys slope up and down sharply, sometimes becoming stairs or ending abruptly in cul-de-sacs. In a few places, the streets are divided by wide gorges in the ground. A rhythmic, mechanical throb rises from below. Something passes by ahead, Carver. It's a spirit of some kind. They look like wraiths, vaguely human-like, but translucent, as if created by mist or shadows. They're searching for something, Carver. They seem to move irregularly. They are blocking your way forward. What do you do?
Can I observe the situation now? I try and focus. Where am I supposed to go now? If they wanted me to go there, and now where do we go? I'll observe the situation. 12. So one question. And my question will be, what should we be on the lookout for? Basically, I'm trying to feel, as I did a moment ago, that feeling of where we should go. And I'm like, where do we go now?
Do I see these things as well?
Yes, you see them as well.
What do I make of them?
They are someone or something who has been trapped here, perhaps the spirits of these people who have frozen to death in this horrible place. Carver, you need to make your way past these wraiths. You need to use their lust against them, lead them away, because right after this labyrinth, right as you get through it, will be the bridge that you have seen, the bridge that you have seen in your flashbacks. You're almost there.
They look for heat, don't they? That's what they want. Why don't we give it to them, Bjorn? Why don't we give them some heat? I look towards the buildings, and as I think of heat, I can't help but think of those flames from so long ago. Try and affect the dream. 1450s. 3 options, yes. So I will make my change affect something large, and it will be permanent. And I will transform an object, and the large object, will be one of the nearest buildings. I will imagine it ablaze. An inferno, if you will.
And it is. You can feel the heat already from this distance. The spirits are drawn right into it. They enter into the building, and you do not see them anymore. The flames light up the city. There is something oddly pleasing, oddly comforting about these flames.
As Carver stands there and I look at them and I see what he does, I look around and I realize that this might attract more attention, which could work to our advantage, so best make a move and see if we can, avoid anything that might be also be drawn towards the flame.
I smile for the first time in this dream, and I just feel good, and I let Bjorn lead me on.
You arrive at a wide, steaming canal. The houses on the opposite side are difficult to see through the mist. You are now at the bridge that's marked 8. You can glimpse something black to the right. Something on the beach there. Its shape makes your stomachs turn, even if you do not know why. To the left are tall towers and domes endlessly reaching out. There's a wide, long bridge that leads across the canal in front of you. And on the water's surface, or perhaps beneath it, you glimpse a mirror image of the buildings with tall towers and domes. The image moves slowly and is hard to focus on. You can hear a rhythmic thrumming. It can be heard clearly now, as if from machines or locomotives. You catch glimpses of shapes that are moving under sewer grates. You are finally here.
Can we pass the bridge, do we think?
Yes. You can just walk across it.
No guards?
No. This is Lieutenant Schmidt's bridge.
I'll start moving over it cautiously.
I'll stumble forward a bit more again. Eyes forward, feeling that this is where we're supposed to be.
You get across, and you move along the beach. You come to the place you have been looking for. The place the doll wants to go to. It's a plain grey-brown stone building with a shabby facade, tall windows, heavy curtains that cover all of them. Double oak doors are closed. The house emits a cold, unpleasant feeling. The sign on the building says that this is Bolshoi Prospect 38. Carver, you see a dark, twisted aura around the building. It feels like standing on the border of hell. There are 4 figures that stand in front of the house. It's difficult to see them because it is now snowing.
Beyond this, it's awful ahead. I think we need to go forwards, though.
Yeah. This is where the doll wants to go. It's strange, though. Do you hear that sound? It sounds like machines.
That's always there, isn't it? I think it's always been there.
Let's see. Is there any way we could get in here? I try to observe the building. Is there any other way to get in?
No, there is only one way. You must go through the large oak doors.
I straighten up and take a deep breath, and I start moving as confident as I can towards the doors.
I'm a little hesitant now, and I kind of fall in behind him.
And you are still in child form, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
As you approach these 4 figures, they're difficult to see because of the snow, but when you get closer, they look more and more familiar. You know these faces. You've known them throughout your childhood. They are your parents. Bjorn, how do your parents look like?
My parents. My mom, she's blonde like me, a kind-looking, round face with warm eyes, quite short. My father has also fairly blonde but darker, blue eyes, very sharp features but not unkind. He's tall, big, strong hands. He looks like a factory worker. They don't look fancy in any way. A kind looking faces. They look a bit more Eastern European than I do.
And Carver, your parents are also there, or at least the ones that you have thought were your parents. How do they look like?
As described before, my blondish mother, my dark-haired father with his stern moustache, both of them very serious-looking individuals. Not that they were always serious. It was just, he was from quite a upper-class family, as was she.
Yes, this is how you remember them. This is how they look like in your memories. But you are children here, and they do not look as when you last saw them. They look as they looked when you were very young. They are much, much taller than you, and they're grotesquely malformed, at least 3 meters tall. They start approaching you like predators. You have been bad. Very bad. You must be punished. They're scolding you as if you were disobedient children. They're approaching you. What do?
I pull back a little and I try and snap out of the lull I've been in. I try to remember once again, no, it can affect things here. It's not really real. And I will try and manipulate things to give us an advantage. 10, although I only got a 10.
Papa? Mama?
No. Bjorn.
I'm getting ready to start darting forward and try to get past them, back in through the doors.
Yes, with only 2 options, I will again just try and reaffirm me and Bjorn's adult forms. I can't make it permanent though, but just for a moment. It's no, we're not children. And you're not really my parents. And I just try and follow Bjorn to try and get in, dart around them.
Yes, you try to run past them. Then I will want you to act under pressure. And this time I want you both to do it.
And if they get in my way, I'll probably try to tackle them just to get by. I rolled 20.
You do. What about Carver?
18. I, again, feeling temporarily at least my adult form, feel the strength to just get past them, knowing that they're just a phantom of this dream. They're not who they say they are. They're dead.
You run forward and you tackle them as you pass, but they are huge. They are 3 meters. They're much, much larger than you are. As you touch them, their faces contort, their eyes turn inside out and sink into dark holes, while their hands grow long claws of rusted metal. Their slathering mouths are filled with rows of teeth. They yell after you, Carver. You were never wanted. We got what we deserved. Should have left you behind. Should have left you behind. Should have left you behind. A child's voice, not more than a whisper, lingers in your heads as you open the door to get into Galenko's palace. The voice says, "Find the house. Leningrad. He knows where you are now. He is coming to kill you." And you wake up. You feel hungry. So terribly hungry. The tumor-like growth at the back of your neck aches. And in the boils all over your body, you feel a tickling sensation. An itch. Carver, you're in the real world now. You're struck with a feeling of intense unease. Something is coming. It's coming for you now. Hurry. Hurry.
I stumble out of the bed. It's probably spilling, knocking over one of the candles. It goes out. I had placed protection around myself, but it's not enough. You're right, no, I'm in the real world. I feel myself, I feel the reality shift in. It makes me feel worse, because at least there in the dream I felt I had something. I go for the bags, I'm going for the door. I need to find Bjorn now.
Bjorn, you're also awake. The ground begins to tremble, rippling like water beneath your feet. Around you, things are starting to flicker out of focus, becoming indistinct like a mirage. You reach Bjorn's door.
I start knocking loud. Oh, so where's Jenkins? Was he in the room with me? I can't remember if we left him in the car.
No, he's not here. Bjorn, you hear knocks.
I get out of my bed, having just slept in my underwear and a t-shirt, and I grab my gun, which I put on the bedside table, and I move over to the door. Who's there?
It's me. It's Carver.
Get in and open the door.
Bjorn, we need to go. We need to go now. Something's tracked us. Of course it has. I should have put more protection. There's no time. We need to.
I already start putting my trousers on and throwing on my coat as well.
Yes, you're able to get the bags. You are able to get the clothes on, and that is when the air tears apart, and there's a loud bang that rings in your ears, and you find yourselves underground in the sewers. You're standing in dirty water in a tunnel. There's a faint greenish light that radiates from the algae-like coating that's on every surface here. Thick, fleshy outgrowths droop from the ceiling and the walls, pulsating faintly. Rusty pipes coil around each other organically, moving sinuously. There's a faint smell of feces, but this seems to have been from a long time ago. In here is the hotel bed that you were just by. It's in here, as if it's a fragment of the real world that's pulled here. The bags, and you're down here. What do you do?
I hold one of the bags in my hand, and with the other I still hold my gun. I look around, shifting my gun around, looking for movement. It's another illusion, is it?
I I almost extend my hand for a moment, trying to call that power I seem to have, and I imagine nothing happens, because I know, no, this isn't a dream, this is realer. We need to, so we're like in a sewer, are there exits, are there tunnels leading in different directions? Where can we go?
There's only 2 directions here, to the left and to the right. A rancid stench hits you. Somewhere from the right, something is rising up from the water, approaching you. It's water-bloated corpses that are rising up from the water. Their bodies little more than collections of fused clumps of flesh and algae that have melted together with junk, debris, and corroded pieces of metal. There's 4 of them coming from the right.
I open fire at them. I start shooting at them.
You engage with... What weapon are you engaging with? What weapon did you pick out of the bags?
Now it's my small arms, my normal gun. It's a 6-hour P226. I first of all want to see if I can scratch them at all, so I'm just shooting mainly towards the bodies, yeah.
Alright, you do that.
17.
And you fire off a few bullets. It hits one of the swollen bodies. It seemingly explodes from the hit, and the innards of the creature pours out into the water. A cloud of stinking gas is released. It's the stench of death. The other one is hit in his head, ripping it off and tearing chunks of flesh off the bloated corpse. 2 others are coming, though, and they're getting closer and closer.
I'm moving backwards, but I fire at them as well.
You fire and you see others rising up behind them. You take down one more, hitting it right in the head, just creating a large hole that starts to fill up again, as if it's the being is reforming.
We need to get out of here, and I start running towards the other way.
You start running the other way. Carver, this is not a dream, but this is a place where you can use some of the knowledge that you have. You think of the rituals that you read about, the summoning ritual. There are symbols there. Perhaps you can recreate those if only you have some time.
Yes, maybe. I quickly collect. Obviously, I had all my bags on me. I sort of make sure I know where the candles and some of the incense markers are. But for now, I will run a good distance with Bjorn as we sort of go down the tunnel. I don't have time to do it right now. So run for now.
You run, and you hear these beings sort of slathering behind you. They're moving quite quickly. You reach a small room on the side of this tunnel, not particularly big, but big enough for your purposes, Carver. You just need to make the symbols. This is a good place to make a stand, Bjorn, if you're gonna make one, or you could continue running.
I look at Carver.
I say out loud, wait, I might be able to, maybe I can slow them down a little, not a lot, but a little. I immediately start recalling one of the, from the scripture of Saint Antidius.
Yes, there is perhaps a way for you to get out of here. Perhaps there is a way to get back. Perhaps there's a way to get to where you need to be. Here the walls are so thin, the distances are so short. Perhaps there's an opportunity.
Yes, I start leaning down on the ground and I start drawing this symbol, and it's sort of like a very Roman, like a sort of like hieroglyphic sort of symbol for a bird. It's Egyptian primarily. I start ranting off this information to Bjorn in the most haphazard way possible. Like he probably has no idea what I'm talking about.
I'm not listening. I'm throwing the duffel bag on the ground and opening it to get out one of the AK-74s and a clip that I put in my side pocket.
The clip slides in, and you have that familiar feeling of holding the AK-74. This is power right here. There's at least 7 or 8 of them approaching right ahead of you now. The distance is just right.
I shout out to Bjorn, just hold them, and this might work. And I start, come close to me, because I start then getting out chalk and drawing a circle round us, because I know that we need to be centered, and then the symbols, if they work.
Yes, you do that, and Bjorn, I want you to engage in combat to try to buy some time here.
I'm standing there with my AK-74 in hand, and I feel a bit of confidence with the old okurok, or the cigarette stub as it's called in Russia, and I'm taking aim and I'm starting to fire methodically at the bodies as they come closer.
You do that. Roll to engage.
13.
The hail of bullets from the AK-74 just cuts through these bodies. There's these explosions of this gas. These beings just sort of melt together in front of you, and you just keep firing. You put in magazine after magazine. You're able to hold them back, but they're inching closer and closer. They will get to you very soon if Carver can't get you out of here. Carver, roll dabble in the occult.
I finish the last symbol, and for a moment, I just have a moment of, even though my stability's at 4, like a moment of my normal clarity, and just a voice telling me, "You mad fool, this isn't going to work. What on earth are you doing?" And then another part of me just goes, It might, if I've done this right, come on. 17, 19, 20. I perform every little step correctly.
You do so, and you perform the ritual perfectly. It succeeds. The air closes the portal to this place, to this inferno, with a deafening boom. Your ears are ringing again, but you're alive. Bjorn, you see that Carver has a nosebleed, and you're standing on a street in a city, our world, and the street sign says Nevsky Prospect.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the campaign The Black Madonna for the tabletop role-playing game KULT Divinity Lost. The Black Madonna was originally constructed by Gunilla Jonsson and Mikael Petersen in 1991, with additional material for the 2017 edition by Marco Berman, Matthias Fredriksson, Petter Nallo, and Robin Liljenberg. KULT Divinity Lost is published by Helmgast. The music was created by Atrium Carceri and is used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Visit cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel to hear more excellent dark ambient. A new episode of Red Moon Roleplaying is released every Friday. Please like our Facebook page and give us comments, input and feedback there. You can also visit us at redmoonroleplaying.com. Finally, a big thank you to all supporters. If you want to show your appreciation and encourage our work, look out for us on Patreon and see if you want to support the show there. While the show will always be free of charge to our listeners, Patreon supporters will have access to extra material, such as a bonus podcast where we answer your questions about the campaign and role-playing games in general. If you just can't wait, you can even get access to the full-length, raw and unedited versions of our gaming sessions way before they are released as finished episodes. Thanks for listening. Looking forward to meeting again next week.